Was a king's decree truly the end of a lord's world? Did banners and bloodshed ever truly pave a path to peace? The rain in Wigmore clung to the stones like a guilty secret, mirroring the damp chill settling over Roger de Mortimer's soul. Just a week ago, he'd been a lord, a warrior, a man who'd commanded respect and fear. Now he was a prisoner, a shadow in a crumbling castle, the scent of damp earth and despair clinging to his worn tunic. It began with a storm, a furious clash at Shrewsbury that painted the muddy fields crimson. Roger, alongside his uncle, had charged headfirst into the king's ranks, their banners snapping in the wind, a desperate gamble against overwhelming odds. The battle itself was a maelstrom of steel and screams, a brutal ballet of death. Bridges burned, towns razed, a testament to their fury, a desperate attempt to cripple the royal advance. But victory, it turned out, was a fleeting illusion. The Mortimers, once brimming with confidence, found themselves trapped, a thread stretched taut between the relentless advance of the royal army and the dwindling support of the northern barons. Lancaster, the earl, the supposed champion, had vanished like a phantom, leaving them adrift in a sea of betrayal. It wasn't just a lack of troops, it was a deliberate, chilling absence. A whispered rumor carried on the wind like a poisoned dart spoke of Bartholomew de Battlesmere, a royal favorite caught in Lancaster's web. Loyalty, it seemed, was a currency easily spent, a debt readily forgotten. The news from the north hit Roger like a physical blow. His lands in Wales, once beacons of his authority, were being systematically dismantled. Sir Griffith Llywelyn, a steadfast knight loyal to the king, was carving a swathe of destruction through Mortimer territory, reducing Chirk Castle to rubble and leaving Holt a smoldering ruin. Clun Castle, a fortress painstakingly built and defended, had fallen. Welshpool, a strategic stronghold, succumbed to the relentless pressure. The Marcher lords, squeezed between the royal army and the Welsh forces, were crumbling, their defenses breached, their lands threatened. It wasn't just about castles and lands, it was about survival. The whispers of Llywelyn Bren, the last Welsh prince, echoed in Roger's mind, a tragic figure, a symbol of defiance crushed beneath the weight of royal power. He saw the same pattern unfolding before him, the same fatal trap laid by ambition and treachery. His uncle, a man weathered by years of war and hardship, felt it too. "There's no point in spilling our blood for a lost cause," he rasped, his voice thick with exhaustion and despair. "Let our men live." The decision, born of desperation and a grim acceptance of fate, was swift and brutal. They abandoned their defense, sending a desperate plea to Lancaster, a plea that was met with a cold, calculated rejection. Protecting Battlesmere, the reply came, a barbed insult delivered with chilling precision. Shrewsbury, the scene of their initial triumph, became their cage. The king, Edward, a man consumed by a burning need for revenge, offered a temporary reprieve, a safe passage to Betton Strange, a small village near the battlefield where he intended to gather his counselors. But even this fragile promise was laced with suspicion. Norfolk and Kent, powerful earls themselves, clamored for a guarantee, demanding assurance of Roger's safety. Edward, fueled by a simmering rage, refused to yield, his demands echoing across the land: total surrender without terms. The king's fury was not a measured response, it was a consuming wildfire, threatening to engulf everything in its path. The days that followed were a slow, agonizing descent into darkness. The royal army tightened its grip, squeezing the Mortimers into a corner. Alan de Charlton, Roger's loyal castellan, meticulously documented the king's seizure of their possessions, every castle, every manor, every right, every loyalty. It was a systematic dismantling, a stripping bare of everything they held dear. The grandest of their holdings, Wigmore Abbey, a fortress of stone and history, revealed a surprising glimpse into their lives. Imagine stepping into a room filled with the ghosts of feasts past. 6 siege engines, colossal wooden crossbows, stood silent, reminders of past victories like the Bristol siege. Hundreds of iron bolts, some bearing the mark of brass, others of simple wood, lay scattered across the floor. A collection of armor gleaming in the dim light, jousting helmets, war helmets, suits of plate, and even remnants of older weaponry, a testament to years of battles fought and won. A hunting room, oddly enough, held drums for scaring game, snares and nets for trapping animals. Luxury items lay alongside the practical, a chessboard painted with gold, a nutmeg gaming board, a mirror framed with ivory. But the true revelation lay in the inventory of Lady Mortimer's belongings. It painted a portrait of a woman accustomed to comfort and elegance, a woman whose life was now reduced to a handful of cherished possessions. Fine velvet jackets, silk tunics, and luxurious furs, all symbols of a vanished world. A bed covered in intricate embroidery, a collection of tapestries depicting fantastical scenes, and a chest filled with precious jewels and trinkets. Even a small ivory image of the Virgin Mary, a poignant reminder of her faith amidst the chaos. The list revealed a surprising level of domesticity, a quiet dignity in the face of impending doom. It was a stark contrast to the image of a ruthless lord, a warrior consumed by ambition. It was a glimpse into the heart of a household, a testament to the lives disrupted by a king's relentless pursuit of vengeance. As the days dwindled, the pressure mounted. The earls, trapped in Shrewsbury, demanded guarantees of Roger's life, their patience wearing thin. Elsewhere in the northern marches, other rebel lords watched, waiting to see how the king would handle the Mortimer situation. A desperate gamble was made, a cunning maneuver orchestrated by Pembroke, one of the earls summoned to negotiate. He offered a false promise of safety, a deceptive shield against the king's wrath. It was a risky move, a blatant disregard for Edward's demands, but it proved to be the key to their survival. Roger and his uncle, weary and defeated, accepted the offer, a desperate act of self-preservation. They were led into the heart of Shrewsbury Castle, a grim procession into the shadow of the king's authority. The audience was brief, cold, and devoid of warmth. They were ordered to be taken away, not pardoned, not even offered a chance to explain their actions. Chains were fastened to their wrists, a symbol of their captivity, a stark reminder of their fate. The journey to the Tower of London was a descent into darkness. The men-at-arms who escorted them were grim and efficient, their faces impassive, their movements precise. The road was lined with signs of the king's power, confiscated lands, burned villages, and the remnants of a shattered rebellion. The tower, a formidable fortress of stone and steel, loomed in the distance, a monument to royal authority and a symbol of inescapable imprisonment. Roger and his uncle were ushered into a small, cold chamber, a stark contrast to the opulence they had once commanded. The walls were bare, the floor was stone, and the air was thick with the scent of damp and despair. The news of their imprisonment spread quickly, igniting outrage and fueling resentment across the land. The children of the rebel lords were taken into custody, their futures uncertain. Lady Mortimer's possessions were confiscated, a symbolic act of retribution against the entire family. As Roger sat in his cell, staring out at the rain-swept courtyard, he realized the full extent of his defeat. He had fought with courage and conviction, but he had been outmaneuvered, betrayed, and ultimately crushed by the relentless power of the crown. His banners, once symbols of defiance, now lay tattered and forgotten, a testament to a lost cause. Was it a king's decree that truly sealed a lord's fate? Or was it the insidious whisper of betrayal, the chilling silence of abandoned promises that ultimately led to the downfall of Roger de Mortimer?